Nightline begins now with me, Sabrina Zainal. The top stories. Kuala Lumpur and Washington sign reciprocal trade agreement to deepen economic ties. And Thailand and Cambodia formalize KL peace accord to uphold ceasefire, restore border stability. Good morning. Malaysia and the United States have signed a reciprocal trade agreement aimed at further strengthening bilateral ties across multiple economic sectors. The 17-point agreement seeks to expand market access, remove trade barriers, and deepen cooperation in both economic and security areas. The landmark agreement was signed by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim and President Donald Trump during a bilateral meeting held on the sidelines of the 47th ASEAN Summit. In a joint statement released by the White House, Kuala Lumpur and Washington stated that the deal will grant exporters from both countries unprecedented levels of market access. Under the agreement, Malaysia has committed to providing priority market access for U.S. industrial and agricultural exports. This includes chemicals, machinery, and electrical equipment, metals and passenger vehicles, as well as agricultural products such as dairy, poultry, and rice. The U.S. in return will maintain a reciprocal tariff rate of 19% on goods imported from Malaysia. On digital trade, Malaysia has agreed not to impose any discriminatory digital services taxes on companies from the U.S. To ensure balanced economic relations, the U.S. Treasury Department and Bank Negara Malaysia are currently finalizing a memorandum of understanding on currency policy. Anwar and Trump also signed a memorandum of understanding to develop and secure supply chains for critical minerals. It aims to encourage trade and investment across exploration, extraction, refining, manufacturing, and recycling activities. Malaysia also has agreed not to impose bans or restrictions on the export of critical minerals or rare earth elements to the U.S. The meeting between Anwar and Trump also saw the bilateral ties between Malaysia and the U.S. upgraded to a comprehensive strategic partnership. The upgrade marks a historic milestone in relations between the two countries, built upon a foundation of diplomatic engagement forged since 1957 and formalized as a comprehensive partnership in 2014. In a statement on Sunday, Wisma Putra said the partnership reflects the closeness and strength of long-standing cooperation across various strategic sectors. It encompasses areas such as trade and investment, high technology, defense and security, energy security, as well as regional peace and stability.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz said Malaysia stands to gain significant benefits from the agreement. The deal provides a 19% tariff exemption on 1,711 products, including palm oil.
Malah, Amerika Syarikat telah menawarkan akses yang lebih baik dan lebih terjamin kepada pasaran mereka. Jadi sebenarnya apa yang dimeterai adalah lebih baik daripada apa yang telah diumumkan sebelum ini.
Similarly, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said that the agreement will further enhance trade between the two countries.
We do have a trade deficit with Malaysia. However, we have engaged in very constructive discussions over the past few months, and we have drafted a substantive, comprehensive agreement on reciprocal trade that will, on the one hand, address our trade deficit and also enhance trade between our two countries.
The summit also marked a historic moment as Thailand and Cambodia formalized the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accord in a ceremony witnessed by Anwar and Trump. The peace deal is intended to maintain the ceasefire between the neighboring countries and restore stability along their shared border. The agreement was signed on Sunday by Thailand's Prime Minister Anutin Chanvirakul and Cambodia's Prime Minister Hun Manet. This peace accord builds on the ceasefire reached in July, which was intended to calm ongoing tensions along the shared border. The final terms were reached following joint negotiations between Cambodia and Thailand, with Kuala Lumpur and Washington playing a key facilitating role.
I also want to thank Prime Minister Anwar of Malaysia. I called him right at the beginning and I said, you know, you have two countries that are fighting right next to you. We need a third place. We need a sort of a neutral place, right? And he was there and I said to him, you know, if we get this solved, I'm coming to your country.
Trump also expressed his appreciation for Malaysia's role as ASEAN chair, noting its success in resolving the conflict within a short time frame. Meanwhile, Anwar said Malaysia equally values the U.S.'s commitment to helping secure a resolution to the dispute.
Personally, did call both prime ministers to urge for a speedy peace settlement. I would say a great thank you. And we, of course, admire your tenacity, your courage, because the world needs leaders who promote peace strongly.
The ceasefire, widely regarded as a major ASEAN achievement, prevented a broader military escalation and ensured the safety of thousands of civilians living on both sides of the border. Following the signing of the peace agreement, Cambodia has also called for the release of its 18 soldiers currently detained in Thailand.
As we speak, I think our two commanders are discussing on the possibility of start of withdrawal, partial withdrawal of the first phase of our heavy weapons as an indication of our willingness to show that the execution of the joint declarations. At the same time, I strongly hope for the prompt release of our 18 soldiers.
In particular, promptly removing heavy weapons from the border areas to ensure the safety of our people, to build confidence and trust. And Thailand will also begin the process of releasing the 18 detained Cambodian soldiers.
Under the KL Peace Accord, both sides will immediately begin implementing the agreed measures, including the deployment of an ASEAN observer team in the previously volatile areas. Now, both Anwar and Trump also addressed the ASEAN-U.S. summit. The Prime Minister said the regional bloc welcomes the peace plan proposed by the U.S. leader to end the conflict in Gaza.
It has given the world a glimmer of hope that even in the most intractable conflicts, diplomacy and determination can prevail. And we trust that with your leadership, Mr. President, will achieve a just and durable peace.
I want to thank Malaysia, Brunei, as well as my friend, President Prabowo of Indonesia, for their incredible support of these efforts to secure the new day for the Middle East. It really is a new day. There's never been a period of time like this. The Middle East will have peace after 3,000 years.
Anwar also stressed that Malaysia wants to ensure humanitarian aid routes into Gaza remain unobstructed and that reconstruction efforts in the territory begin immediately. At the same event, Trump remarked that the world holds the grouping in high regard. He added that he was honored to return to Southeast Asia, which he described as an important and long-standing partner of the U.S. Trump said he was in the region with a mission of friendship and goodwill.
It really is a true pleasure to be back with all of you in Southeast Asia, home of some of America's most important allies, countries, and partners. The entire world, they look up to you.
Two-way trade between ASEAN and the U.S. reached a record $453 billion last year, supporting jobs and businesses across both the country and the ASEAN region. Earlier, the Air Force One touched down at the Bungaraya Complex Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Sepang at 9:54 a.m. Upon disembarking from the aircraft, Trump was greeted by Anwar. The two leaders then shared a light moment as they walked past an honor guard mounted by the Royal Malay Regiment. Also present to welcome Trump were Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan and United States Ambassador to Malaysia, Edgar D. Kagan. Trump appeared cheerful and delighted by the warm reception, which included a traditional cultural performance. He then waved both the American flag and the Jalur Gemilang as a symbol of friendship between the two nations. Trump then invited Anwar to join him in the presidential vehicle, known as the Beast, before heading to the summit venue. The visit marks the U.S. president's first official trip to Malaysia since taking office. In his address at the opening ceremony of the 47th ASEAN Summit, Anwar emphasized that ASEAN must build new partnerships to navigate the rise of protectionist policies and shifts in global supply chains. The Prime Minister also stressed that ASEAN's resilience hinges on its ability to adapt to evolving challenges.
When Malaysia assumed the ASEAN chairmanship, we certainly recognize the magnitude of responsibility before us. Leadership is never a matter of routine. It is a matter of choice. To define priorities, to renew ASEAN's sense of purpose, and chart a course worthy of our people's hopes.
Anwar added that the peace and prosperity ASEAN has enjoyed for almost 6 decades are not self-sustaining, but must be continually renewed through cooperation and reinforced by a shared sense of purpose. This, he said, includes deepening economic linkages, expanding trade, and enhancing the region's competitiveness. He also noted that the bloc has agreed to accelerate the ASEAN Digital Economic Framework Agreement, which seeks to offer a comprehensive roadmap to empower businesses and stakeholders across the region.
ASEAN's digital economy expected to double to $2 trillion by 2030. We have agreed to fast-track the ASEAN Digital Economic Framework Agreement by 2026. And to ensure...
Now, Timor-Leste was officially welcomed as the 11th ASEAN member state after formalizing its admission at the summit on Sunday. The milestone was marked with a historic signing ceremony where Timor-Leste's Prime Minister, Keirala Guzmão, joined leaders of the 10 ASEAN member states to sign the declaration on Timor-Leste's admission into the bloc. Following the signing ceremony, Timor-Leste's flag was added on stage alongside the 10 other member nations, symbolizing its formal entry into the regional grouping. Guzmão then expressed his gratitude for the country's long-awaited acceptance into ASEAN.
Di banyak sektor, dan bukan saja Malaysia, tetapi juga banyak anggota ASEAN juga mau membantu agriculture, tourism, and sekarang saya tidak bisa bilang semua karena kita baru menjadi anggota. Ini Vice Minister for ASEAN. And kita percaya bahwa setelah summit ini, many contact, dia akan ke sana lihat dia apa saja dia bisa membantu, ya akan membantu. Apa saja mereka minta untuk ke sini untuk belajar.
The new chapter now opens major opportunities for Timor-Leste in trade, investment, education, and the digital economy within the ASEAN community. The admission also marked ASEAN's first expansion since 1999, reflecting Malaysia's commitment under Anwar's leadership to strengthen regional unity, inclusivity, and the ASEAN identity.
Within this community, Timor-Leste's development and its strategic autonomy will find firm and lasting support. And its strategic autonomy will
In his speech at the summit's plenary session, the Prime Minister said that the ASEAN-China Free Trade Agreement, or ACFTA 3.0, which is set to be signed on Tuesday, marks a significant milestone in regional economic relations. Anwar emphasized that the strong ASEAN-China economic partnership reflects the joint commitment of the bloc's member states towards inclusivity and sustainability. He noted that the ASEAN Trade and Goods Agreement, or ATIGA, is also a pivotal step towards creating a more competitive and inclusive regional market.
A defining moment as we confront regional challenges, geopolitical uncertainty, and growing geoeconomic fragmentation. Now, we have upgraded ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, ATIGA, and it is certainly a decisive step forward.
Anwar added that the agreement also opens a new chapter in regional cooperation. At the same time, the ASEAN-Japan and ASEAN-India summits were also convened on Sunday. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi reaffirmed Japan's commitment to its free and open Indo-Pacific FOIP policy, stressing that Japan and ASEAN continue to share the same fundamental principles.
It is very gratifying to be able to adopt a joint statement with the ASEAN leaders today, which affirms the synergy between FOIP and AOIP and confirm our way to promote further cooperation between Japan and ASEAN.
Joining the summit virtually, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterated India's support for ASEAN's neutrality and central role under its Act East policy.
ASEAN is a key pillar of India's Act East policy. India has always supported ASEAN centrality and ASEAN's outlook on the Indo-Pacific. Even in this period of uncertainty, there has been steady progress in the India-ASEAN Comprehensive Strategic Partnership.
Later in the evening, Anwar revealed that the global impact of the Gaza issue was among the topics discussed during his meeting with Trump. According to the Prime Minister, he spoke candidly and sincerely with the U.S. President inside the latter's official vehicle upon arriving in Malaysia, discussing the suffering of the Palestinian people and the significant impact of the conflict on regional stability.
But at least I could share with him, frankly, some of these issues. And then to explain to him why the issue, for example, Gaza is very painful and affecting the ramifications throughout the world, and particularly more so in this region. And also gave him the opportunity to articulate his vision, his views.
Speaking at the opening dinner of the Bloomberg Business Summit held on the sidelines of the 47th ASEAN Summit, Anwar described the meeting as very good and fruitful, noting that the discussions covered a wide range of important regional and global issues, including matters of multilateralism, ASEAN centrality, and the need to maintain strong ties between East and West. Teenager dies in 3 motorcycle crash. More on the local front after this breather.
Di atas bumi ini ku berpijak pada jiwa yang tenang. Di hariku tak pernah ada bintang yang terlintas. Ku bahagia.
Mengada-ngadakan, contohnya letak tangkal. Kalau baby tu, kalau dia menangis nanti letak tali, nanti jin tak datang. Jadi ini adalah pendustaan atas nama Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Subhanahu Wa Taala amma yushrik. My Quran Time, Quran, Salat, Infaq.
Yang betul-betul bau hanyut. Memang penuh dengan darah lah.
Seorang lelaki warga emas mengaku bersalah di Mahkamah Tinggi Ipoh atas pertuduhan membunuh abang dan kakak iparnya 2 tahun lalu.
Tertuduh sempat mencapai kapak untuk mencederakan kedua-dua mangsa ini.
Dia libas kan? Kecederaan tu dia merata-rata.
Yang tragiklah apabila pembunuhan tu melibatkan saudara kandung dan juga isteri kepada abang sendiri.
Welcome back. 2 drivers were killed in a head-on collision involving 2 vehicles in Kota Tinggi, Johor on Sunday. The accident happened around 1 p.m. along Jalan Mawai, Kuala Sedili. Now, District Police Chief Superintendent Yusuf Othman said the male victims, aged 71 and 29, died at the scene from severe head injuries. Initial investigations revealed that the elderly driver lost control of his car, which then veered into the opposite lane and collided head-on with an MPV. The vehicle's 5 passengers sustained serious injuries and were taken to Kota Tinggi Hospital for treatment. The cause of the crash is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. Now in Terengganu, a man was killed after the car he was driving lost control and overturned on the East Coast Expressway 2 on Sunday. The accident occurred around 7:30 a.m. near the Jabur R&R exit in Parasing, Kemaman. The victim, Muhammad Amirul Rizwan Azmi, aged 23, died at the scene from severe head and body injuries. He was believed to be travelling from Kuantan to Kuala Terengganu when his car lost control on a straight stretch of the highway, crashed into a guardrail and turned turtle in the middle of the road. Firefighters from the Chineh Fire and Rescue Station were called to the scene and used special equipment to extricate the victim, who was pinned in the driver's seat. The body was then sent to Kemaman Hospital Forensic Unit for post-mortem. In Selangor, a 15-year-old boy died in a 3-motorcycle crash on the Shah Alam Expressway, or Kesas, early Sunday morning. The victim is believed to have lost control of his motorcycle and skidded onto the road before being struck by 2 other motorcycles that were unable to avoid him in time. The incident, which occurred at around 3:35 a.m., was recorded on a mobile phone by a road user. The 3-minute and 43-second video shows the victim lying on the road before 2 motorcyclists collided into him. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene by medical personnel, while the 2 other riders fled immediately after the crash. Police have yet to identify the other riders, who are believed to have been racing with the victim before the collision. Witnesses are urged to come forward to assist in the investigation. Louvre heist suspects arrested. The details when Nightline returns.
Mamanya di Negeri Sembilan, daerah Gemencih saja yang popular. Konon cara kita boleh makan. Anak cucu makcik kalau balik, dia tanya orang, boleh maman mak tu masak tak? Kalau dia makan, sampai 4-5 kotor lah yang dia makan.
IWK melepaskan hampir 6,500 juta liter sehari. Cuba bayangkan kalau tidak dirawat, impak negatif kepada alam sekitar lah.
Teknologi lanjutan menggunakan UF dan RO menghasilkan air RO quality.
Apabila datang, ia boleh mengambil alih kesemuanya tubuh, minda dan hidup anda. Stres bukan sekadar tekanan perasaan tetapi boleh mengancam kesihatan secara keseluruhan. Kenalilah tanda-tanda stres sejak awal dan bincang mengenainya secara terbuka. Dapatkan sokongan moral dan emosi daripada orang di sekeliling anda serta bantuan profesional di saluran yang betul. Saksikan Hello Doktor Ahad 5:30 petang di TV3.
Bila penawar bertukar racun.
You dah tipu pihak polis lah. Kita tanya tak ada, tapi kita jumpa sikit daripada botol ke galen lagi kita jumpa ni.
Disangka ubat, rupanya punca hayal.
Ada setengah orang yang minum batuk ni dia mencampurkan sesuatu lah, seperti pil yang boleh membuatkan orang lebih kaya lah.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with the foreign front. Hamas leader Khalil al-Hayya says the group is committed to handing over the remains of Israeli hostages under the ceasefire agreement to prevent Israel from finding a pretext to resume the war in Gaza. He said Hamas has already handed over 20 Israeli prisoners within 72 hours of the truce taking effect, and teams will continue searching parts of Gaza for more remains. Since October 13th, Hamas has released 20 living hostages and returned the bodies of 16 others, with 12 still unaccounted for, mostly Israelis. Despite the truce, Israeli forces continued attacks across the enclave, killing at least one Palestinian and wounding several others at Nuseirat camp in central Gaza. Thousands of grieving Thais lined the streets of Bangkok on Sunday, paying their final respects as the body of former Queen Sirikit was brought to the Grand Palace, where she will lie in state for a year-long funeral. Sirikit's body was transported in a slow-moving ambulance from Chulalongkorn Hospital, flanked by motorbike outriders along a 10-kilometer route to the Grand Palace. Crowds bowed in prayer, many clutching portraits of the late Queen, while police officers knelt in salute. Black and white tributes filled billboards, television screens, and even mobile banking apps, as broadcasters switched to monochrome and citizens were asked to wear muted colors and limit celebrations for 90 days. The former Queen, mother of King Vajiralongkorn and wife of Thailand's longest reigning monarch, passed away on Friday at the age of 93. Now, suspects in the daylight heist of some of France's priceless crown jewels from the Louvre were arrested near Paris on Saturday. Paris prosecutor Laure Becot said the suspects were known to French police and one of the suspects was about to depart for Algeria. She, however, did not say how many people were arrested nor give any more detail on their profile. The thieves stole 8 precious pieces worth an estimated $102 million from the Louvre's collection on October 19th. They broke in during opening hours using a truck-mounted ladder to access an upstairs window and later escaped on motorbikes. On to sports now, motor racing and the 2025 Malaysia Grand Prix. Heartbreak for national rider Hakim Danish Ramli as his debut wildcard appearance in the Moto3 category ended early due to a technical issue mid-race at the Sepang International Circuit on Sunday. The 18-year-old started 12th on the grid, moving up a spot following the absence of newly crowned world champion Jose Antonio Rueda, who crashed into Noah Detweiler during the sighting lap. Racing for the Aeon Credit SIC Racing MSI team, Hakim made a strong start, climbing to 11th place in the opening laps, but his run was cut short when his KTM machine developed a technical problem on lap 5, forcing him to pull over to the side of the track. Japan's Tayo Furusato went on to win the race, with Spaniards Angel Piqueras and Adrian Fernandez completing the podium. Despite the setback on home soil, Hakim remains upbeat, having secured a full-time seat in the Moto3 World Championship next season with MSI Racing Team. Moving on to football, the Super League. 2 matches took place on Sunday night. Immigration FC came close to their first win of the season, but Sabah FC fought back to hold them 2-2. At the MBPJ Stadium, Selangor missed the chance to end Kuala Lumpur City's unbeaten run as both Klang Valley sides settled for a goalless draw. Chances were few and far between in the first half, with KL City's Victor Ruiz coming close in the 23rd minute. The first shot on target only arrived after the break, with Muhammad Safawi Rasid testing Selangor goalkeeper Sheikh Ishan Nazrul Sheikh Azman. KL City's Ryan Lambert and Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim almost scored in the dying minutes, but their efforts were denied by fine saves. The result keeps KL City second in the table with 17 points, while Selangor stays 7th on 10. Turning to badminton, the 2025 French Open. Malaysia's campaign in the Super 750 tournament came to an end on Saturday. Aaron Chia, So Woo Yik admitted their semi-final defeat came down to fine margins and stressed the need to improve their consistency to keep face on the World Tour. The world number 2 pair crashed out in the semi-finals after a 14-21, 19-21 defeat to Indonesia's Fajar Alfian and Shobihul Fikri, their second loss to the duo. The Malaysians were seeking their 7th final this season, but were undone by unforced errors against the in-form Indonesians, who have emerged as one of the tour's most dangerous new pairings. Aaron Woo Yik's European swing saw them reach the Arctic Open final, fall early in Denmark, and now end with a semi-final run in France. Despite the setback, they have already booked their spot in the season-ending World Tour Finals in Hangzhou this December, hoping to close the year on a high after titles in Asia, Thailand, and Singapore. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at some highlights from the 47th ASEAN Summit, including memorable moments from the signing of the Cambodia-Thailand peace agreement. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for watching and stay safe.